Hello everyone and welcome back. Today, or in this lesson, don't know if you're listening to all of these in one day or not, but we'll just say in this case, in this lesson or today, we are looking at this and that. In the sense of when you point to something and say, this is a cat, that is a cat, etc. So, right off the bat, we need to go back to something that we learnt in the first lesson of this block of lessons talking about is, and that is she. She. So this means, literally, it is, or he is, if you were to be even more specific. And this she is paired with the this and that in Gaelic, when you were trying to point that this is something or that is something. Now, it isn't always said. Often people just drop it and they will just say that and this without actually having the verb, the is, in there. But both forms are used. So, our it is would be said as she. She. The word for that in East Perthshire Gaelic is shen, though sometimes it can also be sheen. In standard, it is generally sheen, but in East Perthshire, it would often be just shen. So to say that is big, and you're pointing at something saying that is big. She shen more. She shen more. That is pretty. Sheshen bria. Sheshen bria. That is a mouse. Sheshen luhag. Sheshen luhag. The word for tree is kru. Kru. So to say that is a tree, sheshen kru. Sheshen kru. Now let's look at some examples without the she attached to it. So it'd just be shen, shen. So to say that is the tree, you'd say something like shen chru, shen chru. The word for cow is bo, bo. And to say that is the cow, you'd say shen vo, shen vo. To say that is a cow, you'd say shen bo, shen bo. In standard, you would have a in there, which would be your definite article. So like in English, the. But in East Perthshire Gaelic, and most of Perthshire actually, they never said that Instead, the was dropped and all you're left with is the change of sound in the start of your noun. So your naming word. For example, bo becomes vo. That is the house. Shen day. Shen day. That is the fox. Shen balgar. Shen balgar. The next one we're going to look at is this, which is sho. Sho. And to say with the full form, this is, would be she sho. She sho. The word for brother is brar. Brar. So to say this is the brother, you might say something like she sho and brar. Shesho and brar. The word for sister is pure. Pure. And to say this is the sister, you would say something like shesho fewer. Shesho fewer. So after the short there, we didn't have a shesho fewer. It was just shesho fewer because the isn't said. The word for a spider is damandali. Damandali. And to say this is a spider, would be something like Shesho daman dali. Shesho daman dali. The word for a small bird is pood. Pood. And to say this is the small bird would be something like Shesho bood. Shesho bood. Now, we're going to use sho, this, without the she at the front. You can use either form, it doesn't matter. The word for hair is falt. Falt. And to say this is hair without the she would be sho falt. Sho falt. The word for colour, and also incidentally to colour, is da. Da. So to say this is a colour would be sho da. Sho da. The word for a teenage girl, I think it's roughly about 16 to 18, I can't remember exactly. But for a teenage girl is nian. Nian. And to say this is a teenage girl, you would say something like sho nian. Sho nian. The word for gold is or. Or. So to say this is gold, you would say sho or. Sho or. And the last word we're going to look at is the word for wool, which is oln. Oln. So to say this is wool, you'd say sho oln. Sho oln. So let's look at some of the words that we have learnt or had a look at in this lesson. Sho. Sho. Shen. Shen. She. She. Shesho. Shesho. Sheshen. Shesheng. Fault. Fault. Da. Da. Nian. Nian. Kru. Kru. Luchag. Luchag. Bria. Bria. Brar. Brar. Pure. Pure. Gavi. Gavi. Pood. Pood. Or. Olm. Olm. Damandali. Damandali.